Oh, back again. Cigarette video number 3. Day 1. Okay, I already cheated. It's true. Yeah, I smoked some cigarette, a couple of butts I had that still had a little bit of cigarette left on them. I usually burn them all the way down, but sometimes there's a couple in the pile of mess, like the old cigarettes are. Well, anyway, so I admit I cheated, so I have to come up with a rule, for cheating. Some other, I don't know, I have to do the video standing on my head or something. But anyway, so at least I admit I cheated. Okay. This is my 500th video too. I just, hated to waste my 500th video on one of these videos, so I'm going to give myself a free extra cigarette just because it's my 500th video. And so that'll give me a cushion against times where I really don't want to do a video. I really don't want to do videos that are bad. Bad videos is not a good idea. Besides your fault, I smoke cigarettes. Okay, got a couple of video responses. It is really, thank you for the people. It's encouraging, people with the, hope you quit, all that kind of stuff is nice. And the interest in whatever, and the comments, it's really, I'm kind of surprised. So anyway, a couple of video responses, really nice, quit, just do it. But I just point out that I'm not rewarding myself. This is not a reward. You see, if I have to do a video, videos aren't fun. It's work. You have to think, and you have to, and so it's not a reward. The cigarette, it's like the opposite of a reward. I mean, I know there's a reward part in it. Like, yeah, I can earn a cigarette if I do a video, but I don't get to have the cigarette like I like to have it. I don't like to have relaxed cigarette. Instead, I have to have this cigarette where I have to talk and cigarette at the same time. So half of, this cigarette gets kind of ruined because I have to do the video with this cigarette. And the other cigarette is, yeah, that's a free one, but, half the cigarettes are going to suck because I have to do the video. So it's not a reward. Then you said you supported the tax, and you said because it's almost like it was social compensation for the expense of cigarette smoking. So I'm going to go over that stuff too in these little previews into the cigarette smoking videos. But this one might end up be all about cigarettes if I don't shut up soon. So anyway, yeah, it doesn't work out that way though. So cigarettes don't kill you when you're young, they kill you when you're old. You're going to die of something anyway, and it's going to be expensive no matter what you die of. Statistically, it costs more the older you are and you die. The older you are, it costs more because you die slower, because cancers and things grow slower. Fourth, mostly poor people that smoke. Fifth, it's going to cost you more to take care of those poor people with Social Security, pensions, all that kind of stuff. Cigarette smokers save the economy. It's a net savings. They aren't a net burden. They are actually a net contributor to society because they die before they collect their Social Security. They collect less health care because obviously they get less sick because they die before they can get sick of something else when they're older. And, but the longer you live, the more expensive you're going to be. It's just a fact of life. Yeah, they don't collect their pensions and such, and they die after their most productive years. Most cigarette smokers die after 65. They don't die before 65. Most of them die after 65. See, cigarettes, unlike alcoholics and the rest of them, alcoholics kill a bunch of kids and, young families, and they ruin a bunch of lives in a lot of other ways. But, put people in prison and all this other stuff. But cigarettes don't do any of that. There's no people in prison because of cigarette smokes. Cigarette smokers it doesn't drive you crazy, doesn't make you an asshole, doesn't do any of that stuff. It actually makes you smart. So anyway, there's no social justification for taxing cigarettes. Unlike other vices, even food, fat kids and diabetes and all that stuff, that can cost society a fortune because you got to treat somebody for their whole life. I mean, even mountain climbers cost, because, you got to pay to get them off the mountain, and then you got to pay them. Sometimes you got to go pay to find their dead bodies, and then you got to, you got to pay because they froze their toes off, and, then you got to, buy them prosthetic toes or something. So, I mean, even, there's lots of vices, there's lots of things people do that are destructive in a way that society actually has to pay money out. Cigarette smokers, it's like the opposite, like I said, because they die after their productive years, not before, after. So anyway, enough on that rant. See, I really maybe should devote this whole video 2, cigarette smoking. As I should tell people, yes, I'm doing these videos, series of videos, because I'm quitting smoking. See, and through the process of doing videos, I'm helping. And the point is too, I'm not, you know, I just needed to do this video thing just to get me disciplined enough so I can get down from 2 packs a day to something reasonable. You know, if I can get down to like a half dozen cigarettes, I'm pretty sure I can quit. But it's hard to go from 2 packs to nothing. I mean, some people can do it that way, just ain't gonna work for me. As you know, just yeah, well, whatever. I mean, you know, everybody's a little bit different. They handle addictions a little better, a little worse. I mean, I quit a lot of things, but you know, cigarettes, it's always been a problem for me. Anyway, damn, one other cigarette. So the other guy, thanks again. Like I said, response video. I'll post a link to the 2 response videos. Nice of you to post these. Yeah, yes. Why did I start smoking? Or how? Yeah, how? Yeah, it's like, you know, most people. You know, I don't know if it's most people. You know, I was like 11, 12 years old, something like that. 11 and a half, whatever. Yeah, and somebody got a pack of cigarettes, you know, one of my friends, and so we were just like daring each other. Well, I mean, they had smoked, and so then they said, yeah, oh, you got to try these. And I smoked one, and it was like, you know, it was really awful, and almost made me throw up, and, you know. But then I had the second one, you know, and that was it. You know, after that second cigarette, I was, yeah, you know, that was it. I mean, last 35 years, I've just been, yeah, you know, more cigarettes, please. I used to smoke, you know, because they were just easier to get at that time. So when I started was those little fancy cigars, little Tiparillos or whatever, and I'd inhale those, and then people told me, you're not supposed to inhale cigars. I said, oh, okay. So anyway, so I went to, you know, just cigarettes. And yes, that was it. You know, my parents did smoke when I was really young, but my father quit, I guess, before I was aware of it. I mean, I never saw him smoke. And then my mother quit, you know, when we were still little kids. So, I mean, there wasn't cigarettes around the house or something. It wasn't something I grew up with. But it is funny how it's a different world. Because I don't remember being a kid saying, oh my God, cigarette smoking, how awful. You know, it didn't attract me and it didn't repulse me. I mean, it was part of the culture. I mean, there was commercials on all the time. But I never really gave it a thought. I mean, it wasn't something I sat around and said, oh yes, I got to smoke cigarettes. I mean, as stupid as that is, they had all this stuff enticing, but it wasn't like, I never had any interest, and it was just a spur-of-the-moment stupid thing, you know? Somebody gives you one, and say, ah, what the hell? You know, dare you to smoke it, you know? And that's how you do it, because you're a dumb kid. Yeah, and even back then, though, you think, you know, I'm not going to get addicted, but you get addicted. And you laugh at the people, you know, I remember seeing, like, videos in health class, and, you know, they got, like, some lady smoking through the hole, you know, she had her throat cut out because of cancer, and just smoking through the hole in her throat, you know. You know, you're laughing, you're saying, ah, look at that fucking silly bitch, you know. You're saying, oh, you'll never be like that, you know. Oh, you know, I'll never get, oh, I'm not, you know, cigarettes aren't going to control me. I mean, I'd never be that silly. Yeah, but yeah, I know now that, yeah, I'd smoke through my ears, my ass, wherever I could, you know. Yeah, cigarette, sure. And, you know, I had times where I had, like, terrible bronchitis when I was a kid. And I couldn't smoke in the house. Well, my parents didn't know I smoked. And so I remember crawling down to the basement to the furnace because I had to smoke where the smoke would dissipate, you know, so no one could smell it. And, you know, I'm dying. My lungs feel like they're made out of broken glass. And I'm sitting there lying on a cement floor next to a furnace, you know, smoking a cigarette. It tastes absolutely awful. My lungs are killing me. I can barely breathe. And, yeah, it's like, this is what it drives you to, you know. I mean, it is a bizarre addiction. Nicotine's a bizarre chemical. I mean, the whole thing it does to your brain. Because you're really okay. If you have some idiotic job to do, like if there's just some kind of mechanical thing to distract you, you're okay. You know, like if you work at like a factory and all you do is put things together or do something that you don't have to really think about what you're doing, you can just daydream or something. Yeah, it works out okay. But if you have to think, I mean, it's like so your brain becomes so dependent on that cigarette to release your brain. Especially like with the computer. I mean, You know, you'll find, I mean, it happens to me anyway. You know, I haven't had a cigarette in a while. I'll just start zoning out, and it'll be like all of a sudden you'll catch yourself and just, whoa! I just wasted 5 minutes staring at a pixel, because it's like your brain won't move on. It's like it just stalls, and you're just like stuck until you get this nicotine in you to release you again. So you can, yeah, okay, now I can go back to regular motion again. You know, I'm not fixated. I'm not, you know, but it's just. Like I said, I'm sure it has a different effect on each individual, and so it's always going to be a little different. But that's the real problem for me with cigarettes. It's just that I'm almost dependent on them to, you know, to keep any momentum.